Hi, my name is Patrick, but you can call me 26. And what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about how you can build a really handy shake animation that you can apply to all views in UIKit, right? So for example, here we have this our login page from the Tinder clone. The Tinder clone will have in-app purchases, right? The Tinder clone with in-app purchases that we're building currently on the channel, right? So what we have here is the login button, and if you hit this login button, it does a bit of a shake because you have not inputted the correct credentials, right? So we would like to create this sort of shake and make it reusable so that you can apply it to any view, right? You could add the shake to a text view, or a label, text field, or another button, or even a card, right? So later on when we build the cards, we'll add the shake view when the user runs out of swipes, right? So let's see how we could do that and make sure that the functionality is reusable across the app. So what you're going to do is you're going to come to extensions, and here we have extensions that are available on all our UI views, right? So we would like to create a function that is going to create an extension that can shake a UI view, right? So let us actually do that. So what that looks like is we come here and we say func. It's going to be called shake. We'll give it a meaningful name to you, and we're going to have a direction, right? And what we would want to have is we need to go to our constants first and create an enum. And this is going to be, the enum is going to be a shake direction, right? And there are going to be two cases where you want either horizontal or vertical, right? So you'll have the option of shaking something horizontally, which is the common one, and one vertically, which is also an option you could do, right? I'm going to show you how you could easily switch between the two. So we have that, so create that enum. And what you're going to have here is going to be direction, and the direction is going to be shake direction, right? And it's going to default to horizontal because most of the time you want to shake something horizontally, right? Then you're going to have a duration, and the duration is going to be of type time interval, like so. And it's going to start off as 1, like so. Then we're going to pass in a completion. This is in case we want to do something after the shake is done, right? So we want the completion so that in case we want to do something when the shake is actually done, right? And what this is going to be is we're going to come here and say void, like so. And it's going to be nil, like so. And then we're going to come here and we can now write our code, right? So the first thing we want to do is we want to begin the transaction. So we come here and we say, we have that, okay. We need to wrap this, right? Come here and wrap this. Okay, now I'll stop complaining, give ourselves a bit more real estate. Okay, now what we want to do first is we would like to begin the transaction, right? So, or begin the transaction, which is going to be shaking, right? So, what we use to do that is going to be the core transaction.begin, right? This functionality. This one normally marks the beginning of the animation transaction. So any transactions we do after this will be done as a group, right? It will be animated as a group. So we come here and we say CA transaction, and this is going to be dot begin, like so. So everything after this is going to be done as a group, right? Then we are going to get animation. So we say let animation, and animation is going to be CA key frame animation, right? This is used to create animations with multiple keyframes, right? So we are going to have multiple keyframes, and then now we want to switch on the direction, right? So depending on whether the user has decided to use the horizontal or the vertical, right? So in case they're going to use horizontal, or they're going to leave the default, or they're going to set horizontal, you can also set horizontal despite it being the default. You could come here and we say CA keyframe animation, and the key path in question is going to be transform like so dot translation dot x, right? So we want to move it on the horizontal plane, right? So we do that, so it's just going to be translation.x, right? And to move it vertically, well, you guessed it, it's going to be translation across y, right? So let's put that there, and this is going to be translation.y, right? So now we have the horizontal, and we also have the vertical translation, right? And now we want to come here and we say CA transaction, like so. And we want to set the set completion block, and this is whatever we called, right? The block here, right? Where is it? Oh, here, right? So this completion, do whatever it's required now, right? So we could come here and we say we just pass in the completion, right? So this will be executed when the animation finishes, right? So we add that. Then after that, we need to set the animation duration. Come here and say animation dot duration, and that's going to be the one that is passed in. Of course, it has a default. And then after that, we're going to say animation dot timing functions function, like so, singular, and this is going to be timing function, and the name of the particular function is going to be dot ease in, ease out, right? So we want to ease it in and ease it out, right? Now the animation values, right? Now what we're going to have are going to be the values that we're going to animate, right? Now we want to displace it, and how we're going to be displacing it on either the X or the Y axis. Let's give ourselves a bit more real estate, right? And Swift is finicky, so we need to give it equal space. What we'd like to do is we would like to displace it, since we want it to go to the left, to the right, or up and down, right? We want to displace it in twos, right? So we're going to go something like negative 25. So it's going to shoot in one direction, 25, whether it's up or down, up or horizontally, right? 25, then 25, right? Then we repeat it by saying negative 25, then 25, right? Then after that, we reduce the amount of displacement or translation. In this case, it's going to be negative 15, then 15, then we're going to say negative 10, then you're going to say 10, then you're going to say negative 5, then we're going to say 5, and finally it's going to settle at 0, right? So that means that the displacement is going to be negative 25, negative 25, negative 25 in one direction. So that's going to be negative. So it moves, if you are picking horizontal, that is. So it moves to the left by 25 points, comes back, moves to the right by 25 points, repeats it 25 points, the opposite direction 25, 15, 15, 10, 10, 5, 5. So the displacement or translation goes as it reduces, right? And now we need to add the animation to the layers animation list so that it can be executed, right? So we come here and we say layer dot add, and this is going to be animation in question, and that's going to be nil, like so. And now we need to commit the transaction so that we can trigger it, so that it can start, right? And that we do by saying CA transaction, and what we want to do is commit, right? So we do all that, and this should allow us in particular to see our animation, right? So let's go to our login controller, and I believe our button, right? So we are going to check in the button, we check that the form is valid, right? We have a functionality. We're not implementing it here, but we check the form is valid. Then if it's not valid, if it's valid for now, we just print valid. Later on, we'll hook it up to Firebase. But for now, if it's not valid, we're going to shake it, and in completion, we're just going to create an alert, right? Pass this to the printer and create the sort of alert, right, on the functionality, right? So let's see that in action. So let's run things and see them. And give it a second. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let's jump in and see this. Hit this and the button shakes, right? Wrong credentials. Okay, so let's close that. And what we want to do next is let's go back to our login controller and let's play around with it and say dot shake and dot shake. And our direction in this case is going to be dot vertical, right? So we want vertical, and the duration is going to be 2 seconds, twice as long. And completion, we could pass in, we could still call the printer, right? So that we get the we call the printer so that you can get the alert, right? So let's run this and you can see it, and this is what it would look like. Okay, give it a second. Taking its sweet time. It knows it's being watched. That's what computers are like. Never let them know that you're in a hurry, right? So we hit this and it shakes and it tells us okay, like so, right? So basically that, right? So you could either do it like so, but it looks better when you do horizontal, right? In my opinion, vertical is weird. Horizontal is a bit better, but let's run it and see it again. And so that's how you would do it, right? Okay, yes. So that's how it would actually work. You could use this to shake any view, right? We could even come here and say something like let's say this should be password container view, like so. And this one is also going to be shaken. So we say shake, like so. If we do that, we're also going to shake it, the password container view, because we can shake any view, right? So let's just confirm that. Come here, hit this, and you see it's also shaking, right? So it also shakes, right? So you could shake a view, any view, by calling this functionality. It can be applied to any UI view. Any one of them can be shaken, right? So that's how you would apply the shake functionality across different views in UIKit.